Craig! Don't go, Craig! We love you, Craig! Yeah, alright, enough of that. As I was hitting the hay last night, the news was breaking that Halo Infinite is being delayed until next year, and it's looking likely that it may not appear until the tail end of the year either. That would mean the game won't appear until a year after the Xbox Series X launch, which we now know will be in November. And it leaves the console a little high and dry, as there's precious little else coming at launch. GameSpot even compiled a list of launch games and, yeah, well, it's not exactly inspiring. We've got Marvel's Avengers, Watch Dogs Legion, FIFA 21, NBA 2K21, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, WRC 9, and, wait for it, Fortnite. And look, there are other games coming around about launch, so, some of those might be okay. But basically, on the day of launch, those are your options. Good luck to you if you like those games, but none of those particularly shake my tree, apart from maybe Yakuza Like a Dragon, which looks like it might be alright. But other than that, well, colour me inspired. Before we get into the issue of Microsoft console again, launching with very few games though, let's just consider Halo itself for a second. It was pretty clear from the gameplay we saw during the July showcase that Halo was far from ready, especially graphically. We've all seen the Craig memes, some of which were frankly bloody hilarious, but it wasn't just one character model. The gameplay in the trailer actually looked okay, but everything else screamed, "Not ready!" There was obvious pop-in, the lighting looked flat, textures looked like they'd been dropped off from Doctor Who after a brief trip to 2006. It was awful, and it made me wonder who actually signed off on the trailer. Simply put, it shouldn't have been shown. It was that bad. And yeah, look, I know some Halo fans were banging on that they didn't care about graphics, but frankly, well, that's horseshit. This is Xbox's flagship property, and it was supposed to sell their new console and Game Pass, which may even be more important to Microsoft at this stage. If it doesn't wow us, if Halo leaves us flat, will Microsoft have problems? After seeing the trailer, I actually began to hope that the game would get delayed because, well, honestly, I couldn't see it shipping in a decent state. But I wasn't sure if Microsoft would allow that to happen, as they had too much riding on the game, obviously. To their credit, though, yesterday we got the announcement, and it has been delayed. Here's the statement released yesterday by 343 studio head Chris Lee. Today I want to share an important Halo Infinite development update with the community. We have made the difficult decision to shift our release to 2021 to ensure the team has adequate time to deliver a Halo game experience that meets our vision. The decision to shift our release is the result of multiple factors that have contributed to development challenges, including the ongoing COVID-related impacts affecting us all this year. I want to acknowledge the hard work from our team at 343 Industries, who have remained committed to making a great game and finding solutions to development challenges. However, it is not sustainable for the well-being of our team or the overall success of the game to ship it this holiday. We know this will be disappointing to many of you, and we all share in that sentiment. The passion and support the community has shown over the years has been incredible and inspiring. We wanted nothing more than to play our game with the community this holiday. The extra time will let us finish the critical work necessary to deliver the most ambitious Halo game ever at the quality we know our fans expect. Thank you for your support and understanding. Chris Lee, Studio Head, Halo Infinite. And from my perspective, this needed to happen. And I do think that COVID-19 probably has had a negative effect on the development of the game. And I doubt that Halo will be the last casualty this year. I think this is going to run on into next year even. And if COVID is still hanging around next year, well, expect a lot of delays next year as well. But the troubles at 343 Industries do appear to predate the global pandemic. Jason Schreier has pointed to the fact that Halo's creative director, Tim Longo, left halfway through the development, and that's never a good thing. And there have been plenty of rumours about the game being in development hell. So, well, all's not well in the state of Denmark. What that leaves us with is a game that's not ready, a studio that has problems, and pressures from the parent company to deliver a game that will blow people away. It's great for the game that it's been delayed, but if these issues aren't resolved, well, it could still be a mess when it finally releases. I hope not, but frankly, we have to be realistic. And if we're talking about the parent company, namely Microsoft, we have to wonder what the hell they were doing during all of this. It's bad enough that they signed off on the demo, but surely they knew something was up. Look, we're coming up to another major console release, and as I said earlier, it's going to ship with virtually no games. And look, I've argued with people and said, look, the no games thing it is not true anymore of Microsoft. There's all these games that are coming, but if you actually look at when they're coming, well, they're a long way off a lot of these games. There was reports this week that Fable are just recruiting for people now. So we're probably not going to see that for 2-3 years at least? I don't know when we're going to see any major first-party games from Microsoft. And that concerns me, because only the most rabid fanboy wouldn't be concerned with this. This isn't good for the platform, whether you're talking about the Xbox Series X or the Series S, the hardware, or whether you're talking about Game Pass and xCloud. And okay, xCloud is already one of the better streaming services out there, but even so, this isn't a good look. And all these kind of things have a knock-on effect on the platform. And yes, I know that some people will point to the fact that we're getting over 100 games that will be optimized for Series X, but those games have already been played by a lot of people. And while I love that Microsoft are doing this, and I think they've got the right idea here and Sony should be following suit, it's not a substitute for a system or service selling game. It's pretty obvious. So, look, yeah, I'm glad the game's being delayed. I can wait for more Craig goodness, but Microsoft have dropped the ball here. They should have had more ready. It's not like they didn't know the console was coming, for crying out loud. It's been in development for years. This is ridiculous. Microsoft are making the console. They knew when they intended for it to drop. They should have had games ready, not a game, which now isn't going to be ready. They should have had multiple games ready. They should have been prepared. And they weren't. And again, they're going to be relying on third party and their, admittedly good services to sell a new system. And when they're up against the PlayStation 5, well, if the PlayStation 5 drops with some decent games, and even that's open to debate, but if it does, if it drops with 1 or 2 good games, well, Microsoft are going to have trouble. I don't think it's going to be trouble that will necessarily last through the generation, because those games they have announced will be coming at some point. But it's not going to be a good start for them. And we saw with the last generation, when they started badly with the Xbox One, they couldn't catch up. And it's going to be even harder this time because Sony already have a major advantage because they've got the PlayStation 4 install base. And most of those people will go across to the PlayStation 5 rather than jumping to the Xbox. And that's just the way it is. Microsoft needed to hit the ground running. And that's not going to happen. We'll have to wait and see what happens in the long term. But this isn't good.